Switch chat room. Take one.
If your life was a movie, who would get the most airtime?
I would say outside. Like, I'm always outside in nature. So the trees, maybe?
My dog and my little sister would get the most airtime.
I gotta say me. Got to.
My family and my dog.
I'll just be like the funny person in the movie.
I'd say my puppy and my little sister, because I spend a lot of my time with them, like either like trying to train my little puppy or just, I don't know, going to the park with both of them.
I'd say my family, because having your family with you is very special, and having a movie with your family, nothing better than that.
What do you think an idol is?
When I think of an idol, I think of something more like addictive, something that you can't stop doing or you can't get away from it. Like more like video games you can be addicted to it, and that doesn't mean you're gonna worship it, but it just means you can't stop playing video games. It can be an idol. You just can't stop, you know? It's something you can't stop.
First off, the first thing that comes into my mind is American Idol. I just wanted to put that out there. And I think that whenever I think of idol, I think of like just worshiping something and like, you know, it's one of your top priorities, something like that.
Yeah, like idolizing like a person.
Yeah.
Like in your life.
I think whenever you're spending like most of your time thinking about it or like just like trying, like always making time for it, it's something that is always in your head. It's always kind of like your end goal.
I think social media can be a big idol for a lot of people, because they just scroll and they don't even know what they're doing, you know, because they're just like stuck and they can't get themselves out of it.
Yeah, I think it's just like what Hope said. Once you start like obsessing over something that like, I guess you like, that's whenever you start like idolizing something.
Like being addicted to it, and like you want to do like that same thing over and over, and like just keep on going back to it. Like he said, like whenever he said like playing the game, like I used to play the game a lot, and like I used to like stay up to like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then wake up and do the same thing over and over again until like I have to like do something important, or my mama say like get off the game or you can't get back on like the next day or something.
I feel like that line is it's hard to decipher where that is. You know what I mean? Because I think we should all do things that we like. You know what I mean? Stuff that brings us joy and like things that bring us peace and stuff like that. But I think it's hard, like whenever you do ask yourself that question, like when does something become an idol? It's like, well, I don't know. Like I'm so confused.
But I feel like it is easy to like cross that line.
Right, it seems so innocent. You know what I mean? Like you're just scrolling on Instagram and then like, but at what point does it become an idol? And you never meant for it to be that way.
Yeah.
Can you give me an example of something or someone that you know you've idolized in the past?
I would say that I've idolized my friends before. Like, I just wanted to like fill up my time with hanging out with them, and like no matter what I was doing, like I would drop anything to go and hang out with them.
I think for me, it was like the same with my friends, but instead of like hanging out with them, it was more towards like how they looked. And I always felt like I wasn't like as pretty as them. And I really just like would just look into like, oh, like I don't know, like their nose is prettier than my nose. And like I would always like try to change myself so I could look more pretty because I thought they were a lot more prettier than me, you know?
Right, idolizing like your image, you know what I mean? How other people perceive you, that is also a tricky one because like I don't know, like there's a line between like trying to just better yourself and then trying to better yourself for like what, the wrong intentions? Do you think that that's what like
I mean,
makes it an idol?
I'm gonna be honest, like the first time I ever bleached my hair was because this other girl bleached her hair and I thought it looked super pretty and I was like, I wanna be just like her, and so I bleached my hair. I feel like for me, it definitely changed the way that I looked at myself and like how I would dress in the morning or like how I would do my makeup, like it definitely changed that. But like now, Like I just want to be myself. Like I don't want to be like anybody else. Like I'm like, okay, this is me. This is how I'm gonna do the stuff because like I love myself.
Whenever I was idolizing like my friends, like my priorities were just like totally out of whack. Like I would drop anything to like go hang out with them. And so then like I wasn't making time to do like the stuff that I needed to do. And so like it was like almost putting them over even like my well-being. Like if I knew like I needed to take a break or I needed to like just chill, but they were going to hang out and like I have major FOMO. So I was like, man, I gotta go. Like
How do you go about getting rid of an idol once you've identified it?
I think it's really hard to identify the idol because you are the one that's doing it and you don't know best. You know what I'm saying? But if you have people in your life, good friends, and they can spot it for you, you can try to help yourself to get out of that spot. But it's really hard not having good friends or mentors.
It's something that is a process and takes a lot of like transformation, partnering with God, partnering with people, finding community that is like going to help better you in that. And like you said, identifying that is so hard because it feels just comfortable.
How do you stay aware of your temptation to idolize something?
Yeah, I think one way is think about it. If it's honoring God, it's good. If it's not really, you know.
Sometimes I spend too much time on social media. So like now that I have identified like, okay, like that is not always what I need to do with my time. It's not always God honoring. So I actually put like screen time limits, you know how you can do that? I did that so that like I'm not spending so much time on my phone. And if I've exceeded that amount, it's like, you know, it has that little screen and it's like, you've exceeded your amount. And you're like, oh, you know what I mean? I think that really just keeps me in line of like, okay, this is like, I can't be on that anymore. I need to do other things. And then I also make like a to-do list of all the super important things I need to get done that day. Just also I forget stuff, but it just makes sure that I'm spending time on stuff that is important and needs to get done.
I think once I've like identified like what, I guess trying to think of like how I'm going to look for the day, like thinking like, oh, she would wear this. So like, I'm going to try to dress like this. I think I would come to the realization of like, not like, why would I change like the way my style is just because that's how she dresses. Like I'm going to dress like myself.
What did you learn from this conversation?
Honoring God in your daily basis, you know, just finding stuff to honor God in any ways.
And like use your time wisely, like while you have it.
You can idolize pretty much anything, and that line is so hard to identify. And just, I think I've learned practical ways to just check myself before things become an idol.